Welcome back, everyone. Figured I'd do another video on impacts and some choices, the stuff that I have. Start off with the pneumatic impacts. There's a ton of choices out there. These snap-on impacts are they've been good for me. I don't use them all day every day. I did replace some old Ingersoll Rands with these because these have a lot of power compared to my old Ingersolls, and that's what I was looking for. But for somebody starting out, you know, this might be the best option, getting a pneumatic impact, because the shop's going to have air and they do the job, and they're much less expensive than investing in a lot of the battery tools. So that's an option. I wanted to kind of compare the snap-on to this DeWalt. Now, the reason I bought the DeWalt was I keep it in my truck, so it's, you know, I don't use it all day every day. I have had one in the past that I used a lot, and it was a good tool, and it didn't let me down. The batteries seem to be, you know, they do a good job too. The biggest thing, the only thing I don't like about the snap-on is it doesn't have a battery status indicator. The other hand here, these DeWalt batteries, you know, you can tell what your battery status is. Now, on the snap-on impact, that little green light comes on, tells the battery's okay, but you can't just, you know, if you're going somewhere, you're going to leave the shop, you know, charge up both your batteries and take them, because, you know, you have no way of knowing where the battery's at. So the impact that I had that was DeWalt was actually a 1/2-inch drive, and it was good for what I was using it for, because it was smaller, you know, in this direction up here. So, and I did use it for several years, and it never let me down. So, and then the battery life on both of these is really good. I mean, these 5 amp-hour batteries are they last a good long time, especially on a, you know, a small impact like this. These snap-on batteries here, if I'm using it a lot, I'll go through both batteries, and, you know, I just keep a battery charging all the time, so I always have a fresh battery, which is no big deal in the shop. But, you know, if I gotta leave, that could be a problem. So if you're you know, if you're on the road, might be if you're on the road and in a service truck and you can charge them yourself, it doesn't really matter either. But this is a 2 amp-hour battery, and it's very light. These 5 amp-hour batteries are not very light. So, you know, weight difference between this and this is substantial. So might be something that you would consider. The lights on the front, that one stays on, that one's momentary. So that light being able to stay on, and it times out and it shuts off on its own so it doesn't run the battery down, that's nice. Because if it's dark and, you know, you only have 2 hands and you need some light, you can turn that light on and give you some light while you can, you know, put your tools on something. So it's another feature of that DeWalt that I like. This is something I bought. I actually bought it quite a few years ago, probably 2 or 3, and it is made in China, which I'm totally against buying made in China stuff anymore. But it's an adapter that goes from that 18-volt to the 20-volt batteries, and I really like it because those 18-volt batteries are really not very good. So I use it on this or my my old 18-volt drill if I only want to take those 20-volt batteries, and it works good. It's not an issue. It adds some length to the tool. Hasn't been a problem for me, but just another option. I got this drill recently, and I really like it. It's been a good drill. It's one of the brushless. I think all the new stuff is brushless, and it's probably probably a better tool. I have worn out one of my old 18-volt drills that had, this 18-volt battery like this style of drill. And the batteries, though, those 18-volt batteries are not very good. They don't last. So far, these 20-volt batteries have been real well. They've been good for me. That one's a 12-volt. I talked about this in my first video. I got it as a gift, a Christmas gift, and it's got the light, but the light doesn't stay on it. But it's a good little impact for. It doesn't have very much power, and that's what I wanted it for. And it is really light. It's lighter than the Snap-on impact. So kind of what I wanted it for. Hose clamps and stuff that you don't want to over torque. That it does a really good job. So, and I also use this. I can, if I want to take it with me and not have a bunch of tools with me, I have those little adapters. I've got a 1/2 inch, a 3/8, and a 1/4 inch. The drive adapter that fits into the collar of this. These. See if I can do it one-handed here. Can't. But anyways, your bits come out. You can put a driver in it to put a socket on, and it does not have a ton of power, but it'll get the job done for certain things. And then I don't have any Milwaukee tools other than I've got 2 of those drills, and they are very good. The batteries are good. I like the charger. I like Milwaukee tools. I just didn't end up buying any. I have an impact just like this that I wore plumb out, and I used it really, really hard for probably 4 years before it finally failed. And the reason it failed is because it got soaked in water, and it died on me. It burned it up. So it eventually started working again with a new battery, but it stinks really bad, and the tool itself gets hot when I plug a battery into it. So I don't want to have a fire hazard, so it's long gone, and I got this new one. And the one thing about these Ingersolls, they do have a lot of power. The newer style ones, they have a light on the front here, like the other Impacts do. That's nice, and you can hit the trigger with the tool in the middle, where it locks the trigger, and it turns the light on different settings, and that light will stay on. And it's a nice tool. And this one also has a battery status indicator. Let you know what your batteries is. I like that. And it's a very strong impact. It works really well. I've taken lug nuts off semis with them, no problem. It takes them off. So the hub pilot type, I've never tried to use it with an old Bud type, but hub pilot, yeah, it zips them right off, no problem. One thing you do have to do with these Ingersolls, and I would imagine even the new ones, is you have to pull this cone off and grease where the bushing is here for the anvil. I do it about every month, or sometimes a little sooner. And I wish they would have put a provision in it to grease that bushing without having to tear you got the Torx fasteners here that you have to take out and pull that whole cone off and then grease it up and then put it back together. And that, it's kind of a hassle, but it is a very good impact. I like the angle. Gets the battery out of the way when you're using it. So if you're straight, the battery itself is cocked back out of the way. It doesn't run into things. So I like the angle of the tool. It's very strong. My old one, it got worked, and it was always a good impact. So battery life's real well on these as well. That's a 3 amp hour, and I think that they're offering a 5 amp hour now. So it's another good option. But they're a lot of money too. So if you're just starting out, you don't have to buy Snap-on either. There's a lot of good pneumatic impacts out there. I've been around guys that have some of the Harbor Freight ones, and they're very strong too, and they cost a fraction of what these cost. So if if you're starting out, you know, this might be your best option, having a, you know, a 3/8 and a half inch drive pneumatic impact. You know, your shop is going to have air, so these things are good tools. The only other bad thing about them, everybody watch your ears, it's going to get loud. They are super loud, so I'm older, I don't like noise anymore. The other thing you got to think of, I mean, this 1/2 inch impact, very, very quiet compared to, you know, you're going to get the noise from rattling on a bolt or whatever you're banging on anyways, but those pneumatic impacts are extremely loud. So a few things I wanted to go over. Let me know what you guys think. Do you want to, anything you're thinking of that you want to talk about, let me know. I can give you my opinions on what I use and what's worked for me. Thanks for watching.